Hey there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back. I'm your host, PattSun, and today we're gonna be taking a look at r/infidelity, where a cheating girlfriend got exactly what she deserved. Let's begin. My girlfriend cheated and now wants forgiveness and a clean slate. Posted by Reddit user ThrowRA2Wonder.
Third draft, trying to keep from writing a novel. I'm 29 male, met my girlfriend, Kim, 24, in July 2021. She was working at an upscale restaurant that I ate at frequently. I tried to ask her out several times before she said yes. After 3 months, she asked if we could be exclusive, and by March 2022 we moved in together. Before she moved in, I took her to meet my mother. Kim was very anxious, but not as much as I was, as my mother can be very intimidating and overpowering. But Kim charmed my mother and won her over. My mother said in large part it was how she treated and looked at me. After we had been living together for a while, my mother quizzed us about our plans, specifically about our goals. Kim was a sophomore in 2020 and COVID caused her to drop out and lose her scholarship. She really wanted to get her degree to have a chance at a real career, but it was always out of her reach financially. Later that day, my mother reached out to us and offered to pay for Kim's tuition. So Kim started back in the fall of 2023 at my alma mater, just a 35-minute drive from my house. I got to visit my old stomping grounds and show Kim around the campus. The first semester was great. The second semester I saw red flags start to emerge. Kim was no longer comfortable with me hanging around some of her friends, told me being 6 to 7 years older than her friends made them feel uncomfortable. She also had a study group that she met on Wednesday night and an early class on Thursday morning, so she started spending Wednesday night with one of her girlfriends so she could get more sleep before class. She wanted to go to Cancun for spring break until I offered to book our tickets. She wanted to go alone with her girlfriends. Some of her girlfriends got invited to a frat party at my old frat house. I insisted on going with her knowing what those parties were like, and we fought until I foolishly caved. When she got home from the frat party, it was late and she went straight to bed. Early the next morning she got into the shower and I slipped in there with her before she realized. It was not an unusual occurrence. Then I saw the bruises on the hips and ass, which she said were from playing volleyball drunk. I know better, I have left bruises like that on her. But the one she tried her best to hide was a bite mark and a hickey on her breast. I wouldn't listen to her lies and said she needed to leave. After she was gone, I reached out to one of my frat brothers. I knew his little brother was living at the frat house and was surely there at the party. I talked to his little brother and explained my situation and described my girlfriend and the purple flower tattoo on her hip. He was very forthcoming and sent me a couple of pictures and a short video. He was adamant she hadn't been slipped anything and wasn't that drunk. She came over to talk the next day and get her stuff. She tried to tell me it wasn't as bad as I thought and nothing really bad happened. That she wanted to put it past us and move on. The color left her face when I asked her if she had ever seen a BJ contest, where a group of girls race to get their guy over the finish line first, and then I played the video for her. I said one of my first lessons as a pledge was there are 2 types of co-eds, the ones you date and the ones that come to frat parties, and I guess we know now which one you are. I said, until all those marks fade, I don't want to talk to you or even be around you. The fact I may still have feelings for you just disgusts me. I made her give me back the keys to my house and my credit card that she uses for gas, books, and other expenses. She does have a debit card on her account that I put money into, so she has cash to spend. She has love-bombed me for days promising to change, no overnights on campus, no more parties or activities without me there, and coming home right after classes. She said she was stupid for listening to other people and letting them talk her into disrespecting me. Only a couple of my friends know what happened, but I haven't talked to many people about it out of shame. I'm angry at myself for actually entertaining the thought of giving her another chance. Quick update. Finally got to talk with my mother without divulging the dirty details. I told her I had proof that Kim had been cheating on me and that I had broken up with her. She was livid and said we will deal with that when she gets home. She asked if I was okay and told me to contact her lawyer if I needed anything. I told her where I had left things with Kim, and she offered again to cut her trip short and fly back home. I told her there was no need to come back and that I had things handled. Then I got a call from my older sister. She was in her car and headed to my house. We talked on the phone for almost the entire 2-hour drive to my house. When she gets to my house, she makes me gather and box up the rest of Kim's things and call her to come and get them. Kim was not happy to see my sister there, as I think she thought I would be alone and she could soften me up and plead her case. I told her she had till the 1st of the month to figure out car and health insurance, that I didn't want any contact with her again after today. Kim begged for a cooling-off period and some counseling before we threw the last 3 years away. In school, my sister was a mean girl bully, but I never heard her utter some of the words she used to verbally lash out at Kim. At one point I almost felt sorry for Kim for all the abuse she was taking. Well, almost. We finally got the last of Kim's stuff in her car. My sister is staying with me for a few days in case Kim comes over and falsely accuses me of something. Clarification: 1. Kim didn't get to go on spring break with her friends because I refused to buy her tickets. 2. Kim also didn't know beforehand that the frat house party was at the same one I belonged to in college. 3. I am cutting her phone off Monday and tying up the number so it can't be ported.
OP, I do agree with your ex here. You should put the past behind you. So I am so glad that you put her in your past and didn't look back. Only an idiot would go back to her. And my guess is that she has done a lot more with her friends than what happened at the frat party. Let her friends support her through school, or she can go back to waitressing in the college town so she could support herself. Either way, that hoe is not your problem anymore. She has shown that she is just pure trash. Also, your mom and your sister is a fucking giga chad. You're lucky to have them. And now for today's second story. The women at my job made a list of the hottest guys and left me off of it. Posted by Reddit user ExtremeAd2475.
I posted this in another sub, but I was told it didn't fit, so I'm posting it here. So here's the deal: I work at a store part-time while I'm attending classes. There, a total of 21 of us who work at this store, 13 girls, 8 guys, and we're all around the same age, early 20s. We have a pretty good working atmosphere, no open hostility so far I know, and everyone gets along well and jokes around with everyone. Though I will say, the guys and girls do tend to stick together more. As for me, I'm fairly well liked by everyone. I try and be pleasant to everyone I work with, because who needs an asshole coworker? Unfortunately, here's where things go bad. One of the guys who work us, Chris, is dating one of the girls in the store, Ashley. Chris was apparently looking at her phone when he came across the girls' group chat. He said it was mostly girl talk, but he found a list, ranking all of the guys in the store by their hotness. He had a laugh about it and screenshotted it to send to our group chat. Everyone saw it and had a laugh at the rankings. The guy at the top, Chad, kept sending crown emojis. Then everyone noticed I wasn't there. I didn't look at the chat till later since I was with my parents at the time and had it on mute. When I saw I wasn't on the list, it was like I was slapped across the face. And the worst part of this, the list was out of 10, and they included the 3 delivery guys who drop off stuff and some of the girls flirt with. This crushed me in a way I don't think I've ever been crushed before. It's like, damn, I'm that much of a hideous monster that I'm not worthy of being ranked. I spent the rest of my day being miserable and not talking to anyone. When I wasn't responding to the chat, the guys all tried to hit me up individually, but I didn't respond. I looked into the chat and the guys were starting to be pissed on my behalf, which I definitely didn't want. I decided to call in sick the next day, and when I didn't show up, apparently it all came out into the open. The girls at the store started messaging me, apologizing to me and making all kinds of excuses. Quite frankly, I didn't care. I decided to face the music the next day and suck it up at work. When I walked into work, the atmosphere was a lot more tense than it usually was. Becky, who is the assistant manager and was on the group chat, pulled me to the side and asked if we could talk. I said okay. She apologized on behalf of everyone in the chat and said that the list was not serious. It was girl talk, and not meant to be seen outside the chat. She said that everyone, especially the women at the store, like me for far more valuable things than simply how I look, and that if it were a list of nicest guys in the store, I'd be number 1. I couldn't help but feel like this was damage control and being friend-zoned all in one motion. I said thank you, but I'm past it and I don't want anyone's pity, and I went about my day. Of course, I did end up getting that pity with a lot of the guys coming over to talk to me and some of the girls as well. I got so fed up that I went to the manager and asked to go home early. She agreed because she kinda knew what was going on. This was all about 5 days ago, and since then, everyone at the store has been trying to get me to talk, but I haven't gone back. I don't want pity and I don't want sympathy. If they think I'm ugly, then fine, but don't try and justify it or make me feel better about it. The reason I'm here is because I need advice on how to navigate the situation at my job and with my friends. How do I tell everyone to basically leave me alone and not pity me? Because honestly, I'm leaning towards just quitting. Edit. Hey everyone, I'm reading your comments and I thank everyone for their input, the tough love and all. I just wanted to pop in here and say one thing. I didn't feel entitled to them thinking I was hot. I don't feel entitled to sex or whatever from them. I'm not a nice guy or an incel. The reason I was upset is because them leaving me off the list for relative strangers felt pretty cruel and messed up. I don't know how to describe it. I guess it sucks I'm not attractive to them, but being left off entirely felt like a step too far. And now, for OP's update. Hey everyone, I'm back and boy do I have an update for you. I can't believe this situation exploded so much. There was a fight, arrests, and I think someone might be getting divorced. Okay, not really. People wanted to know how I was doing, so I decided I'd just make an update. I just wanted to clear up a few things. First, I didn't care necessarily if they found me ugly or whatever. I just felt like being left off the list was a deliberate slap in the face. I didn't, or don't feel entitled to anything. Next, the manager of the store, Barbara, was not involved in the group chat in any way. She's a 38-year-old married woman with 2 kids who is far too busy trying to get us to stop smoking weed behind the store on our breaks. What I meant to say is that she was made aware of the situation after it was brought to her attention. Third, I wasn't aware of the list right away. I was with my parents and wasn't paying attention to the chat. Now, after reading the comments on the first thread, I decided that while I could be upset that I was deemed unattractive, I probably shouldn't care as much I did. I kinda wanted to discover why not being on the list hurt me so much, so I took my sister's advice and will be seeking a therapist. Funny enough, my grandpa has a saying that came to mind when reading the comments in the first thread. Whenever my dad or his brothers and sisters would be upset about something, my grandpa would tell them, I didn't get wounded in the Drang Valley so you could sit there and cry about shit. The shit could be anything. The point he was telling them is to toughen up. It became a joke among my aunts and uncles that passed down to my cousins. So I could hear my grandpa telling me in head, I didn't get wounded in the Drang Valley so you could sit there and cry about some girls thinking you're ugly. And that got me up a bit. I was still feeling kinda shitty, but I decided to put on a brave face and tell my manager I'd come into work the next day after posting the thread. As soon as I walked in, the manager took me to her office and said the owner of the store wanted to see me. I wasn't really worried since I had a good relationship with Carl, who was the owner. Carl told me he heard about the story and he was sorry about everything. He said the list was childish and unprofessional and he was sorry I had to take time off to deal with it. He said the girls all got a strong reprimand and a stern warning that this wouldn't be tolerated in the future. He also suspended Becky because he said she should not have been in the chat to begin with, and if she was, she should have stopped the list stuff. He also emphasized that he told everyone that he hadn't talked to me yet, and that he wasn't punishing anyone because I asked for it. He also said he'd pay me for the shifts I missed as a bit of compensation for the mental distress. I thanked him and told him I was over it pretty much right away. I just hated having everyone think I needed coddling and wanted everything to cool down. With that, we shook hands and I started my day. Everyone welcomed me back and I said hey to everyone. I went to my locker and found a letter slipped inside. It was a handwritten letter from all the girls. I'll summarize here because the list was long. In it they apologized profusely for the chat and the list. They said that nothing was going to make it right or make me believe them, but they wanted to say once again, the list was non-serious and meant to be some stupid fun and no one was meant to see it. They said that they all loved me individually, that I was a good person and that makes me more attractive than most people who are considered hot. Interestingly, they said I was considered cute. Okay then, lol. I flagged down one of the girls on shift who I get along with really well, Sam, to tell the group that I accept their apology. I told her to tell them that I got over it pretty much right away, that I just took time off because I wanted the situation to die down and that I didn't take anything personally. Also, I told her that I'm sorry that anyone got in trouble. I didn't talk to the barber or Carl about anything until today. I didn't want this to become an issue at all. Unfortunately, the guys made it an issue on my behalf. Sam apologized again and told me she'd tell everyone. And that's that. Sorry if this was not the explosive post you all were looking for. I just wanted to get this situation resolved as soon as possible and put it behind me so that I and everyone else can move on. I am thinking about not returning next semester, however. So thanks all. I appreciate your comments and helping me get through this little episode in my life.
OP, this is a reasonable outcome actually, and I'm glad you moved past it. As for the guys making it an issue, Young man, you need to realize that they were 1000% correct to do so. Can you imagine if the situation was reversed and it was the guys that made that list? Every single one of you would have been fired and possibly even have a sexual harassment case against you.